Welcome to Real Flix Reviews, like a book club for people who hate reading. This month we're doing family films, so Ryan picked the movie Lemony Snicket's, a series of unfortunate events. We bring you Firefly episode called Heart of Gold, and we bring you movie news. This week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, and Ryan Preston. So here's the description of a series of unfortunate events, 2004. When a massive fire kills their parents, 3 children are delivered to their custody of their cousin and stage actor Count Olaf, who is secretly plotting to steal their parents' vast fortune.
This is before he turned into a snowman.
And and apparently, jeez,
Ryan's still processing that.
I'm really trying to figure that one out. Who turned into what?
Count Olaf.
Turned into a snowman.
Yeah.
Frozen.
Oh.
I want to jump in on this one because this, for me, really shows Jim Carrey at what he's good at.
Creepy?
Yeah, being creepy and goofy and just playing a multitude of characters. That's why I think The Mask was so great of one of his films. I mean, it's what he was better at than, showing what he could do with the Cable Guy, which is really shit. But I actually enjoy Jim Carrey in this one because he gets to play a wide range of characters.
This is like Fireman Bill, just amped up to 11.
Well, yeah, that
Bob.
Actually some
Close
kind
enough.
of depth to the character, I mean, depth in as much as, it's slightly layered, where there's a motivation and, he definitely gets to play his full hand.
Yeah, and I gotta say also these kids, because they were kids at the time, Liam Aiken and Emily Browning did fantastic jobs as child actors.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Gotta give him
But I
props
mean,
for
this
that one.
movie is really right up my alley when it comes to sort of like the fairy tale or adventure kind of kid story.
mean
It's
dark,
but actually still has sort of like a heart to its characters.
Yeah.
And especially to the main characters. But I like when shitty things happen to good people and then still kind of gets redeemed, but just
See, like
pile
Schindler's
it
List.
on, throughout the entire
Oh,
movie.
dear God. Did you just really?
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
You want me to do it again?
No, please.
I will.
We get enough hate mail as it is. I actually shit, man. Somebody else
What's
go.
I
I
miss
get.
here?
I totally threw a wrench in John's motivation here. Anyways, no, I get what you mean. It's like one of those funnier, darker comedies that you can get joy out of it. But I mean, if you really think about it, it's pretty screwed up for the kids.
Well, yeah, no,
For sure.
I mean, he tries to straight out just kill them.
But they make it okay for you to laugh at their misfortune.
Yeah.
And very few movies actually do that.
Like
And-
being trapped in a car with a train coming.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, much
That's
like
funny to
the
you?
Addams Family. You know what I mean? You're anybody who's not the Addams Family. You're like happy to see them, be tortured or ridiculed.
I don't know. I enjoy when they
I would
play.
I would definitely
as
say
their
this
god.
is closer to like the Grimm style fairy tale with a happy ending
Okay.
than Disney. So I'm totally with you. I like the darker side of this, like how Jim Carrey's character keeps killing all their relatives or relatives as it turns out to be.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy.
And how everybody in this movie has some really weird quirk like that.
Like Meryl Streep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Jim-
everyone is an amazing character.
Yeah, there's not like kind of middle ground characters. They're all to some extreme.
And they're all to sort of some purpose, you know what I mean? They have some quirk that's sort of necessary to the kids' understanding of what's going on.
Even though everybody involved is kind of a weird firefighter buff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that was the one part of the story that's like, so this is the MacGuffin. This is the whole reason this whole thing started. This is the suitcase.
Yeah.
No, my favorite
Yeah,
thing.
the plot wasn't very there
No.
at all.
But this scene,
Well,
there was
it just definitely wasn't what you were expecting. I mean, it was simple, all said and done.
and I would say that there was no throwaway scenes in this movie either. I mean, it was super simple but very well done. Nothing was a scene where you could go, this shouldn't have been here. This makes no sense. Everything was really well used, and the timing of this movie was perfect.
Okay.
There wasn't a scene in this movie where I'm thinking, oh, this is slow. This is, the moment I thought it was getting slow, it picked up. I thought this was like perfect timing.
Wait, you mean
Right,
like when the
and
house fell
definitely
apart?
the way
Yeah.
that they unfolded, the mystery was really cool. Also,
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. I mean, as far as I was concerned, I think like John, where you actually get to the final plot, plot twist, it's really kind of like a letdown, actually.
It
He's using a big mirror with the sun and shining it down and burning
well, yeah, I mean,
people's
obviously
houses.
by
It's
the
kinda-
time you sort of there was a certain point where it tips its hand.
Yeah,
But I mean, I think it tipped it exactly when it wanted to. So you're kind of thinking about it and then sort of anticipating a couple things as they come around.
See,
But I mean, really, one of the main reasons I picked this shit in the first place is I'm such a sucker for Jim Carrey. I'm young
sorry.
enough to where I was Riddler for Halloween one year,
wait, that
and then I
Riddler?
grew up to realize that movie was terrible. But that's
Like,
beside
riddle
the
me
point.
this bitch?
yes. He was green spandex and
I said,
red
like,
hair.
riddle me this bitch?
Oh yeah, green spandex, the orange hair, the
Really?
fucking cane. Yeah,
Oh, man.
wasn't fucking around.
Oh, yes, you were.
I mean, are there pictures of this?
And I'm not kidding about that at all.
We're going to have to call his parents and see if we can get pictures of this.
Well, I think I
No,
might.
again, none that I did not destroy. There are none that exist.
We're going to have to call his mom. There's got to be something that we can say, hey,
I mean, did you find the
Have
negatives?
fun with that conversation where she tells you that I destroyed the photographic evidence.
I mean, there's got to be negatives.
I don't think we kept the cameras.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that explains that. I think I'd break the camera if I took that picture as well. Anyways,
I would say at the end of this movie, it didn't bug me about how the fires were solved and all that. Because for me, I went in going, okay, this is Grimm's fairy tale-esque, but this is a kid's movie. I wasn't expecting a whole lot besides a decent story, which I got. It was simple, but it was decent. Very good storytelling. Okay plot. I got everything I wanted out of this
but I
movie.
think when I look at it as a kids movie, obviously it wasn't a kid in 2004, but I mean, if you look at it as a kids movie, they're not looking for an in-depth plot. It's the same thing that we
Right.
came across with
think of
Swiss
it
Family
as like
Robinson.
And the Jungle Book.
And the
It's like a bedtime story.
Yeah.
That's essentially how it's being played out.
Yeah.
But I
Go
think
to sleep or count Olaf. We're gonna give them to you.
Right. I mean, I was 19 when this movie came out, so it's not like I was a kid, but I watched it like a few years later, just kind of apropos of nothing. Like, I haven't seen this one. It looked kind of interesting. I like Jim Carrey, and was really just blown away by the entire tone of it, because it's really not something that you see very often, and it got not great reviews. I mean, it sort of kind of had a cult following later on, or people who eventually saw it and said, hey, this is pretty decent towards the book. My girlfriend being one of the people who read it as a book, and then actually liked the film.
Yeah.
You see, but I think
She
the
reads.
spirit
Yeah.
of a kids
literate.
movie is the fact that this is all the movies we've done are basic stories. Some are more in-depth characters, some are very typical. But see, that's the basis of a kids movie. It's a fun movie. There's
Right,
nothing.
and the kids are the heroes. What I
Yes.
mean? That's sort of the important part of the children's movie, is it's relatable to that sort of demographic as the builders of the story, as the people moving it all forward.
By the way, I love the quirks they gave the kids. One's
Yeah.
intelligent, one is brave, and just one
the
bites
biter.
everything.
The biter
Yeah.
was the greatest thing ever.
My favorite part was the opening where she's just dangling from the table.
Yeah.
My whole thing is like, I was thinking she's going to need dentures later on in life.
I mean, there were so many of those little moments, and then I mean, like a whole new sort of generation of kids who are gonna love Jim Carrey forever because of that character, or all 9 of the characters.
As long as they stay away from the cable guy.
Well, I mean, yeah,
And
I'm,
Ace Ventura.
The
for
first
some
one was
reason
okay.
that movie gets
Ugh.
way more critical acclaim than I would personally like.
Which one, Cable Guy or Ace Ventura?
Cable guy.
Yeah.
I would say
I think if you want to see a good Jim Carrey movie, this one or Truman Show.
yes. I agree. I think those are the 2 movies that really highlight what he can do as an actor. If you want to look kind of his silly side and ridiculous, I do think Ace Ventura is a perfect, and even The Mask
Mask.
shows
Yeah.
kind of
Before Ace
the
Ventura.
crazy the crazy side of Jim Carrey. But
Or watch Go in Living Color.
I mean, we see
I would
that's
suggest
why
that.
I like this one, is way more of those over the top, but only in only a way that Jim Carrey could sort of pull off.
And I would say parts of this movie are a little bit, for a kids movie, a little bit more in depth than I was surprised of.
Like the marriage?
The marriage scene was actually a little bit more thought out from a kids movie than they generally are. Or at least the kids movie from our generation were never is
and it's
plotted
also
out like that.
based on a book too, and most successful children's books don't play down to their audience.
Oh
Yeah.
no, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I think as far as the movie goes, I liked it being like kind of like a biography of the kid's life, as Jude Law's doing it and things like that, and the fact that they left it open for more, which they never did. But there is a TV show
more
spin-off.
books.
Yeah, there's more of the books, but I guess there's a TV show picking up this and coming out this year as well. But I think if you have it,
Patrick Harris is going to be in that.
yeah, I think it is. But this is the type of fantasy thing that kids want to get lost in.
Right.
So I mean, for my generation, it was Star Wars and Indiana Jones. But not necessarily straight kids movies, but those were the ones that you could have fun and get lost in the fantasy of it.
I would say the also thing about those movies you mentioned is those were really the first adult movies that it was okay to watch. Though.
Yeah, that's true.
This is a kids movie, and I think this kids movie is pretty much okay for everybody. I think the younger the kid, I think there's going to be some issues, but
yeah,
honestly, I think this is darn near a perfect kids movie. I mean, there's nothing in this movie to me that would make me look at it and go, like Lord Farquaad in Shrek.
Okay.
There's like certain parts of that to me I'm thinking this is not a kids movie because there's very adult-oriented comedy.
Well,
There's none of that in this.
A lot of those things. I mean, that's in
There's a little
every
bit.
single kids thing, even from every cartoon that we've ever watched. There's always going to be those things that are made to fly over the kids' heads, just because they know the parents are sitting there next to them in the theater or what have you. But doing those things in a clever way where it's not like the parent has to look over and be like, oh shit, did they understand that? They can kind of sit there and chuckle to themselves.
Hopefully they didn't say "oh shit" right in their kid's ear.
Right?
Yeah.
Great. Then their kids like, motherfucker.
Bitch, not in my ear.
Apparently they're now Tarantino
But
fans.
I actually looked it up, but there was another one that is a dedicated kids movie that it came to mind when we were discussing this was Spy Kids. Spy Kids
Yes.
is another one that
Yeah.
is similar in this. This
I
one
thought-
came out 3 years after. Spy Kids came out in 2001.
I thought Spy Kids kind of talked down to the audience a little, where I thought this didn't. I actually thought this played off very well. I thought this
I
was...
think in the way that they did it was different, but is what I was going to get to. I think the way that they approached it were two different scenarios, where you have more gadgets and things, and this one was more just kind of situational stuff.
And
So,
by the way, I love the narration. I'm a big fan of
that's what I was
narration.
gonna say, is this movie had good narration. I thought it was interesting, but
Right, and it added everything to the story.
yeah.
I actually think without the narration, I don't think it would have been good. I
Oh
really
no,
do
I mean
think
it would
that.
have been completely different tonally, and it wouldn't have. The comedy wouldn't have worked in the same way.
Oh yeah, and so for me, I keep trying to think of what I'm going to give this movie, and it really is to me probably a perfect kids movie. I mean, I want to give it a 5, but for me it's a strong 4 to 5. I mean, this movie was entertaining, and I went into this going, I didn't want to see this movie when 04 when it came out.
All right. You remember that?
I do. I actually remember thinking, going, this is not going to be any good. I have
I
no
actually
desire
kind
to
of
see it.
wanted to see it when it came out. I didn't watch it when it came out. I watched it a couple years later.
So what
yeah,
about you?
me too.
I wouldn't say it's just a straight out perfect kids movie. I think it's one of those that I think it's a great kids movie. I think it's right up where kids want to, like I said, for me when I look at a kids movie, do the kids want to get lost in this fantasy
Yes.
world? That's really
Yeah.
what it comes down to. And I think that this is one of those where they could. And I don't think it's just straight up just perfect, but I think it's a strong
almost.
4.
I would say almost perfect. The reason why I gave it a 4 to 5 because there's a little bit, but no, it's a strong 4 to 5 for me. What do you think, Ryan?
I mean, yeah, I'm kind of with you on this one, but sort of half with James also. Definitely a 4 out of 5, but basically for the reason that I think everybody would sort of enjoy this movie, but I think there's like a good small section of kids 15-20% of the kids who watch this movie who are really really going to attach to it. And really just the style and the tonal quality, and it's going to be one of those ones that they remember as adults, you know.
I would definitely say the one thing I really appreciated this movie, and I don't think we talked about it a whole lot, and Ryan just brought it up, I love the style of this movie. It was over the top, but very subdued, if that makes sense.
Well, it grounded itself in sort of its own kind of rules. You know what I mean? It sort of said what the world was, and then played out on those actions, and then gave you a little more peace, and then played that out in front of you. You know?
Yeah, I just the whole movie, the looks, the way everything went, I was very awestruck by.
Yeah, as far as sort of honorable mentions of kids movies, I was thinking of, as soon as James brought up Spy Kids, was I almost said How High, but that was with Snoop Dogg.
Sky High.
Sky High was a great one, and then Super 8 was one that was really underrated.
Oh yeah, Super 8 was actually pretty good too.
I thought that was going to be sort of like the next generation's Goonies, but apparently I was wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
Goonies never die.
We did Super 8. I mean, I enjoyed it, but not as much as I would. I mean, it was.
I just
good
remember thinking like, shit, man, if I'd have seen that when I was like 10 years old,
Yeah.
See, for me, that's the hard one to gauge, because as a kid, I loved Goonies. Would I like Super 8 when it came out as a kid? See, for me, I have such a fond memory of Goonies. It's really hard to compare anything to that.
I mean,
and it's funny when you watch Goonies again. So maybe we were just dumb when we were kids and we wouldn't have liked Super 8.
I don't know. I mean, I might have to watch it again.
I don't know. I think our standards have been, raised
a little bit.
Yeah.
So we're going to switch over to the Firefly TV series. I'm going to hand it over to James.
All right, so this one's the horror episode for people who may not know. I mean, it really is the horror episode.
Companion.
It's one of those good ones. And, I got to say there's a lot of characters in here I like, but I mean, this is one of those that it's like Adam Baldwin. He shines in this episode. I mean,
he's hilarious.
Because there's whores, there's whores. Okay, I'm down, I'm not going to go help those people, but they're whores. Sign me up.
Can I get on with the sexton?
and another one is like Melinda Clark, the main whore chick. Like, I've always had a crush on that chick. She's always been a hottie. But on top of that, I mean, you got all the Firefly characters, and we've already done the entire Firefly series.
Yes.
So, it's one of those I let it slide because, Ryan, this shouldn't have counted. Anyways.
Well, look, the reason I picked this in the first place is because this is one of those shows that kind of pops up every now and again on cable or Netflix or something like that. And back in the day when we used to watch TV shows, if we didn't watch the very first episode when it first aired, you'd end up on episode 6 or 7 before you knew what the hell was going on. Yeah. You're like, oh, well, this is interesting. I wonder what happened before. But if you were to just walk in on this episode of Firefly and this was the one you saw, I'm pretty sure this would hook you for the whole show, and you'd be going back and Amazon and this shit.
Well, thanks to Fox not showing the actual first episode, it didn't really matter where in this show you watched it.
But Ryan's right. This one has a very simplistic story. It's got a start and finish. There's no inside baseball much.
I think
this one.
No, you're right. But I think the whole series, the reason why it became so popular and it was the whole us versus them. Those type of shows generally do well if there's even remotely good writing, and this was the perfect pinnacle of that, showing a little bit in depth about the war and what happened to him. And no, I this is one of the reasons to me Firefly will always have a special place in my heart, because in 14 episodes or whatnot, it will be one of the most legendary TV shows ever.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, we've already mentioned that we're big fans of Joss Whedon, and I think he did a fantastic.
Joss,
shut up. I'm going to slap you.
I'd love to see you do
Joss Whedon's going to slap you.
Bring it on. I'll let him get a free one.
Yeah, seriously, if he's watching RFR, I'll let him slap James.
Come on. We'll videotape it.
Exactly. I'll make
Then we're going to cut off on my response, though.
I'll make a fortune off of him being slapped.
But we've already discussed how much we like his writing in this one and some of the other things that he's done, but Ryan's right. You can come in on this one. It's got a whole story just wrapped up in this. There's nothing that really you're not going to understand if you come in on it cold.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's an A-Team episode. It's an interstitial. It's a one-off.
Yeah. But I like the fact that you get to see all the characters except for really the engine chick. What's her name? Kaylee.
Oh,
Kaylee. You don't get to see Kaylee much in this episode, but you do get to see a lot of the other guys. And I mean, even Summer Glau's in this one, River Tam. You get to see her kind of being like, I wonder who's in there. So you get to see her goofiness, but you really don't get to see Kaylee or Wash very much. I mean, they're kind of like just there.
Yeah, they're not as important to the story as they would be otherwise.
Yeah.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, let you know that we do have a Facebook page. Do you love us or hate us? And like the people who hate Das Boot. Come on, comment.
Hate Das Boot.
Be creative in your insults. We'll read you on
Die
air
Nazis.
if you do anything better than hey, you suck.
Die Nazi scum.
And I also want you to let you know we do have a Facebook page. Do you love us, hate us? Oops, excuse me.
We just did that.
We have we do have a podcast. How about check us out? We're on Stitcher, Podbean, and more, if I can actually say that right. And now we're doing movie news. And here's the question Ryan generally says:
Is Josh Whedon
shit.
doing something?
Do you have any movie news?
No.
Yeah, take it away, James.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay.
Because
I
by the way,
can do it.
if you're on our Facebook page at all, you'll notice we do get a lot of Facebook movie news on there. One being, did any of you play Mirror Edge, the game? It was one of the very first games that led you to do parkour, kind of jumping from building to building. Well, that apparently is getting a TV show. Okay, I'm moving on. I'm going to hit one.
I mean, is that like really like a TV show, or is this like going to be CGI?
From what I read, they actually said it's going to be a TV show, but they didn't really get any further into it. I'm just not sure how well any video game is going to translate to a TV show unless it's like, for example, there's a live-action trailer of Deus Ex Mankind Divided. It's an Xbox game, PlayStation game that's coming up. I posted it to the Facebook page just because how well done that like I think it's 20 minutes is done. Check that out and tell us what you think.
I think the place for these types of things is on the internet. You get private funding, and you do the shit on your own. Any studio that would get a hold of something like that's gonna jack it up beyond repair. And the only people that are gonna give a shit is
The fans.
the handful of 1,000 people that played the game. I'm sure it was a lot, but it's not going to be any kind of a TV viewing audience where it would last any longer than an episode or two.
I think the only difference is the fact that people who love it are the very vocal minority. One of the reasons, for example, Firefly even got a movie is because the fans were so pissed.
But yeah. I mean, but they bitched for so
did.
long.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they kept up that noise, man, for years. I mean, it was really insane what they did, and that doesn't happen for hardly anything. Maybe a couple, 3 times in history has anybody actually rallied to get a movie, you know.
And I don't think it would happen for Mirror's Edge. I don't think the game had that much of a following personally.
No, it was kind of like I mean, it was there, but it wasn't like prominent.
I got one more.
Oh, I was gonna say, what do you guys think of like 30 years later doing a sequel?
Of what?
Predator.
I'm sorry, like 30 years from the original Predator?
Number one.
Which was released in 1987. They're forecasting that this new Predator is going to come out in 2018, the beginning of the year.
You know, honestly,
it'll probably be about as good as Kindergarten Cop 2.
I was still shocked. I was at Walmart the other day and I saw that and I'm like, wait.
Yeah, I scrolled across it on Netflix and was like, oh, that got newsworthy and then came out in like 3 days of each other.
And it's with Dolphy.
Yeah, it was terrible.
You know,
in case you were curious,
I'm kind of tired of the Aliens and Predator, and they've played that to death. That horse has been beaten and turned into glue.
Yeah, I kind of agree, but I'm just wondering, like, I mean, are they going to turn the Predators into complete CGI now, or are we going to...
I mean, that's basically what they would do. I mean, although Predator was always good because you can fit a guy in that suit.
Yeah, that was what I enjoyed about it, was the fact that they actually did a real suit and made it around this person's face.
It better be better than the last try they did a Predator reboot. The Predator Planet?
Oh, are you talking about Aliens versus Predator?
No. The last, they actually tried to do a reboot, and like they sent people to a planet full of predators or something.
Yeah.
It was just freaking god awful.
Yeah.
You want a real good horror movie? Bobcat Goldthwait made a horror movie about Sasquatch.
Yeah. He also did one with clowns too.
Well, that was Shakes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That was a horror film.
So I found out something today that Mel Gibson was asked to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and can you guess what character he was asked to play?
Cable.
Odin.
Odin. Why? Why?
I like the fact that both Ryan and I did the same face. It's just like,
Because I
what?
immediately went to Spaceballs, as what was the Schwartz guy?
You talking about you mean Mel Brooks?
Yeah. Wait,
That's
what? I
Mel
heard
Brooks?
Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks played the Schwartz guy.
Right. Who'd you say?
That's what I said.
Yeah,
Mel
that's
Brooks.
what he said.
Mel Brooks was going to play Odin.
No, Mel Gibson.
Oh, Mel Gibson. Okay, I heard what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, I would be down with Mel Brooks playing Odin. I'm down with that.
I'm a big fan. I was going to say I'm a big fan of both. I'm a big fan of Mel Gibson, but him playing Odin, he'd be the
You
angriest.
said Marvel, right?
Yeah, he would be.
And they didn't go for cable.
I see the whole
Could you
thing.
see Mel
I could
Gibson
see him
playing
as a
Cable?
good Cable.
Yeah,
Maybe if he got a little
Especially
wider.
after Payback, you know?
yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
you
guess I
ain't-
could
you
see
ain't even
that.
that young.
Yeah, Cable. Depending on the timeline, he's kind of old.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean, yeah, he did come back a couple different times, but yeah.
I don't know. I just don't think. I love the guy who they chose to play Odin. Mel Gibson would have been horrible. He would have been an angry
The guy
Jew hating
chose to
Cable.
play Odin
Funny guy.
as in Gene Hackman. Wasn't that Gene Hackman? No, Anthony Hopkins.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
a bingo.
You just say bingo.
Yes, I said that's a bingo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you just
you just say bingo.
bingo.
Yes. And Thor Ragnarok, that's the next movie in the Thor series, adds Jeff Goldblum as Grand Master and Carl Urban as the Executioner. Now,
I
here's
I
a
can
question.
see Carl Urban.
Now, here's the question: do any of you actually really care about any of the Marvel movies at this point? I know because we all agree, at least James and I do, about wanting to see Doctor Strange, and for me, that's kind of
Yeah.
it. I'm kind of over the whole.
Well, Marvel has done obviously a far better job lately than DC in the cinematic universe.
Oh yes, hands down.
Whereas it's quite the opposite when it comes to the animated movie universe. Whereas
Sure.
DC's killing it, and Marvel's just unmentionably bad.
In
Yeah,
all honesty,
I
I
agree.
actually think they should DC should just stick doing the cartoons because, well,
But no,
there's
they shouldn't. They need to pull those people into making the actual live action.
Yeah,
I don't-
I'm agreeing with you on there.
the problem is I wonder how many of those people actually work for DC though. I'm thinking they probably farmed that out.
Yeah,
Oh, you mean the actual movies themselves?
Yeah, the animation. I doubt
Oh
they're.
no, the animation it's all a lot of the same writers who've been doing this shit for 25 years.
You think so?
Oh, it's absolutely is.
Then how come the Batman versus Superman was such a shitty movie?
Because that was the movie and not the animated.
he's got a good point.
I don't know. There's no excuse for it. Your cartoons are amazing. Your movies are awful.
Right. Now, if they were to get the people who've been writing the comics or doing the animated stuff onto the cinematic universe, all ships would be righted.
The only thing I can see is the fact that I think with the cartoons there's a more limited audience. So I could see them going and for the big movies oh, nobody's going to like if you do this and this. So let's make it
in the animated universe. They get a chance to go a little more hardcore and stick to sort of one book and tell that one book and throw it right into the middle of the universe.
Yeah,
Not
I mean,
explain a whole lot because they assume that people that are watching it kind of have a cursory knowledge of who people are.
yeah, I mean, you got Wonder
You know,
Woman,
the cinematic stuff is so new; they have to explain everything, which is why the new
Yeah.
not the new Avengers, Captain America's was good because they actually told a story without bogging you down in miles of exposition.
Do you think that's because they had the prequels first?
Well, sort of, but there's also things that they tell really quickly and just let you play the story out. And yeah, they actually have some foundation, for people.
I think at this point, if you really don't know much about cartoon characters, you can go read a freaking comic.
Well, the only thing I could
Yeah, at this point, you have no excuse.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I got a piece of news.
don't you mean riddle me this?
Tom Hiddleston, the guy that plays Loki,
Mm-hmm.
wants to play James Bond.
See,
Yeah,
I actually had
this.
I had a discussion about that. I could see him doing it. On the other hand, if he goes even remotely creepy, everybody's going to expect him to start killing, bussing out and doing Loki things.
I just want to see
I've seen him
0088.
in interviews. He can definitely pull off a charismatic Bond type.
See, I think he could do it. I'd be willing to give him, the chance like they did with Lazenby.
Yeah, but
Lazenby situation. No, I actually think it'd be a really good choice. I mean, it would definitely be taking it back into much more of the gentleman spy territory, as opposed to the hardcore killer who sort of pretends to be the gentleman every now and
Well,
again.
here's what I'm hoping. And when it comes to reboot, I'm hoping they did what Casino Royale did, was make a better movie, because pretty much all the ones after Casino Royale just turned into a typical Bond movie who you don't really need anybody. You just need a warm body.
Listen, dude, that was the whole point. Is it was laying it in a really sort of earnest foundation, and then leading you back and giving you your Bond again. You know what I mean?
I want it more
Like,
boring and less comic booky, because I think it would be a better character. Honestly, I think the movies would be more entertaining if it was a little bit more grounded. If that makes sense.
Well, that's exactly what they did, but they still. I mean, if they changed it anymore, it wouldn't be James Bond.
Yeah.
It would be the guy's name. That's it.
True. No, that's true. I don't
It's
know.
really
I
not
mean,
a Bond
they
by any
dialed
other
it back
name.
as much as they could. They set it in the modern world with modern technology, dialed back the gadgets where you weren't sitting there like, oh yeah, he just made that chopper out of a crate.
He wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. He wasn't the Pierce Brosnan Bond, which is the height of the comic booky Bond.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I mean, if you look at like the way that they transferred from GoldenEye into all the other crap that came after it, I mean, GoldenEye was a good movie, and then the crap that came after was crap that came after it. And the same thing with Casino Royale and the movies that came out after that one. I mean, they just kind of were. It's like a sliding scale.
yeah, it's
Yeah, there always is. I mean,
they phoned the rest
and
home.
it's going to be that way. But
And it's the same with the Sean
three
Connerys
movies-
and the Roger Moores. The movies that came after their first initial one were not as good as the initial ones.
That's
Well,
true.
look,
They get into the formula of it, and they don't go
Yeah.
outside that formula. Oh, I totally agree with you on that one.
No, but listen, these.
I can't listen.
What were you saying? You hear that? It's silence. So, ladies and gentlemen,
We
next
missed everything. Quantum of Solace is what he's talking about.
So, ladies and gentlemen, next week is our theater pick, and so we're going for X-Men Apocalypse, which came in theaters a couple of weeks ago,
It was last
week. And then what was the TV show we're doing?
TV show we're doing is called Preacher. The pilot episode came out on the 22nd of this month, and so we're going to be doing a little catch up on this one.
And so I gave Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events a 4 to 5. James gave it a 4 to 5. Ryan gave it a 4 to 5. We like the episode of Firefly. We give watch the whole freaking series. Matter of fact, watch earlier on in the fewer episodes. We did the whole entire series. You can hear. Matter of
Piece
fact,
by piece.
we did an episode talking about the whole thing, a giant roundup. So make sure you watch that. And as always, thank you for watching.
Goodbye.